Well, and I think that's where I feel, and I've just been observing, like right now, Kamala's in a very precarious position. There's 35 days left as of this recording, and like you know, Kamala has to deal with Israel, and she has to deal with the Hurricane Helene, and there's so many things that as a vice president she should be taking care of while she's supposed to campaign in these very close um, swing states where there's only like 1 or 2 percentage points apart, and I don't know if she has enough time or enough focus to be able to do a good job in you know getting the presidency.
Yeah, I mean, there's a growing list, right? Like there's the Israel conflict now with Iran, and then
Yeah,
there's the still the ongoing conflict with Ukraine and the war between Ukraine and Russia.
yeah.
Then there's Hurricane Helene, um, and then there's also
The economy, you're all still
well, there's the
suffering.
economy.
The border, so many problems in America. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I was also going to say there's also the issue with the the People's Republic of China. Their territorial disputes with the Philippines is kind of increasing.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know?
I didn't know, but my friend is Filipino Chinese.
Yeah, China is currently is claiming like large parts of the Pacific Ocean in front of the Philippines and Taiwan, even though
What?
it's considered international waters by the UN. And they're sending patrols along these routes, and they're kind of clashing with the Coast Guard. Like there was a report recently about a Chinese vessel intentionally rammed into a Filipino Coast Guard boat.
Mm, wow, that's wild. And I guess that would trigger some type of act of war or anything like that.
Not necessarily. I mean, it's just a conflict. It's just an ongoing conflict that it's kind of starting to. I don't know if it's escalating, but it's not getting better.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Wow, the world is in disarray, and I
Yeah,
mean,
and then it's like and there's still the ever looming threat of China invading Taiwan.
your
Um,
hometown, your
what do you mean,
ancestral town,
what do you mean my ancestral town?
aren't you Taiwanese?
I'm also Japanese and Korean and Chinese.
Oh, you're Chinese too? No
Yeah,
way. That's wild.
I'm everything. I'm all
You're having
Asian.
a lot of internal conflict, huh?
No
I'm just
internal
kidding.
conflict.
But so what's happening with Taiwan then?
Nothing. I mean, it's just so Taiwan had their own presidential election earlier this year, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Or was it last year? I feel like all these months are like merging
Well,
together.
I know Korea had their election this year because I was watching the
Yeah,
Korean.
but it was an important debate because the two parties, whereas one was pro independence, right, remaining their independence, to retain independency from China. The other
Yeah.
one was
Be a part
to
of China.
create closer ties with China. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so China has always been trying to kind of integrate Taiwan back into the Chinese party.
So was it there
Kind of like
before?
what they did with Hong Kong. What?
Oh, was Hong Kong separate too? Dang, I
Was not
should
anymore. More these days are more aligned with Chinese policies than their own.
well, that's why you keep telling me that Taiwan is not a Chinese part of China. I'm like, yeah, aren't you from China?
Yeah, I mean they have their own government and currency and everything.
In Taiwan?
Yeah,
I wonder if people know that.
they do.
Okay, so you say. So I mean, Asian Americans might know. Like people who are Chinese and Taiwanese probably know that. But I mean,
Well, yeah.
do people in Iowa know that, Malia? No, I don't know. I mean, honestly, for me, when you kept correcting me that it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to Taiwan. I'm like, oh, you're going to China. That's how I
No,
felt.
because if I went to China, I would need a visa.
Taiwan, you don't need a visa.
No.
Great. Let's all go Taiwan then.
Yeah,
Have some tea.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
But
So,
yeah,
but
anyway, so President Xi Jinping of China, he's always been saying that we will eventually reclaim Taiwan,
we
pretty
can.
much. Will or something like that. Like they'll say they were we our plans hasn't changed. We always intend for China to rejoin the Chinese Party, Communist Party.
Wow, that's great. I
But
mean, that
Taiwan
kind of
people don't want that, or the government
right, of
doesn't want
course.
that, and
Well, I
America
mean,
doesn't want that. The whole Western alliance doesn't want that.
well, what would be the reason for that? It's just because.
For one, geographically, it's a strategic location to maintain this barrier of defense to keep China's aggression in check.
Mm,
And the other reason is because in Taiwan they have this company called Taiwan's Semiconductor Company, TSMC,
oh, yeah,
and they are like one of the world's
leading.
leading companies in creating semiconductors.
Wow, it kind of reminds me of when the USSR became like separated countries. Like Russia,
Mm-hmm.
Belarus. All of those different. When the USSR split, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And but now with the ROC, right? Republic.
There's
What
the
it,
PROC and there's the ROC.
yeah. So it's like then there's that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, why do you keep changing? Why do you guys keep changing? Just stop it.
What do you mean keep changing?
I mean, just like how they had one, big you know, the Soviet Union had like this big, like USSR, which included like all these different places, and then they split them all up, right?
Well, the USSR collapsed. That's different.
I mean, but like it was so because it collapsed, they just split it all up.
Well, the USSR collapsed, and so all of these independent territories declared independence,
Mm.
and they
So
became their own
who
countries.
and then and they're all happier for it.
Yeah, and now they're all joining NATO.
Oh,
No, Taiwan's different because I don't know if you're. Well, I guess I don't know how familiar you are with the Chinese Taiwanese history.
I'm not.
Oh, basically, there was a cultural war in China where the Communist Party overthrew the Chinese government then, and that
Okay.
Chinese government fled to Taiwan.
Mm. And then started their own thing.
Well, yeah, they started their own thing. They created their own. They maintained the old government regime in Taiwan. Meanwhile, the Communist Party started their own government party in mainland China.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like so crazy. I guess those are things that you might need to know for political reasons or foreign policy, maybe.
I mean, it is important because it is still a current issue today, and it does affect like the current global market.
Right. I wonder what's gonna happen after we elect a new president. Like, do you think that the wars will stop?
No,
You don't think that Trump can stop the wars?
no. What is he gonna do?
I don't know.
How's
Just
okay? Well, I
call
guess
his buddy.
I guess
Call his
I don't
buddy
really know,
president.
but like, how does Trump just decide to end the war between the Israel conflict or the war between Israel
Well,
and
I know
Palestine
that
or Gaza
during the
or Hezbollah?
debate they were saying that like I know of a fear of Kamala's right. They're gonna kind of surrender Ukraine to Russia. That was one of the things that they're gonna say, and I know that Ukraine wants nuclear missiles to send over to Russia and
Yeah.
kind of defend themselves. I mean, maybe they got a plan or a concept of a plan.
What do you mean the concept of a plan?
No, I'm just kidding. That was one of the quotes from the debate when he was
Oh,
talking about Obamacare. He's like, I got a concept of a plan. So maybe he has a concept of a plan.
Wait, who are we talking about? Or which side? Or
Trump. This is Trump.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So maybe they have some concept of a plan. I mean, I don't know how strong Trump is in foreign policy. I just know he knows like all the dictators.
That doesn't mean anything.
I know it doesn't mean anything, but you know,
it, I mean, if his plan, if his peace plan is to just accept Russia's deal, which is to just give up all the territory that Russia already claimed,
oh
then
yeah.
I don't think that's ever gonna happen. I don't think Ukraine would ever agree to that.
Mm. Well, yeah. Well, Ukraine. I do know that Trump did meet with Ukraine as well when Ukraine came down to America. Because I think things were getting pretty
Honestly,
bad.
I think he's just gonna continue the same policy. He's gonna continue support to Ukraine. I think that's really what he's gonna end up doing. Because
What do you think about that too?
honestly, I mean, I know that it's a terrible thing, and I kind of do want it to stop. I do want it to end, but for America's military, it's beneficial to us
Right.
because all of the all the equipment and ammunition that we give to Ukraine and we sell to them, right? That
They
eventually gets
make
replenished
money.
by newer ones that we have to produce.
Mm. Which stimulates the economy. No, I'm just
Well,
kidding.
I don't know if it stimulates the economy. It definitely stimulates the war economy, the war industry.
What do they call the military industrial complex?
Yes, exactly. Military industrial complex.
What?
So
Yeah. I guess it's a lot more complicated than.
yeah, and plus,
Yeah.
like what? It's like, and the thing is, like, if let's say we do give in to Russia's demands, like, let's say we do convince Ukraine to accept Russia's peace deal, right? Then it's like a matter of precedent later on. Like, what's to stop Russia from doing it again?
Right. It's kind of like you're almost rewarding them for
Yeah.
ill behavior, and they're like, "Oh, well, okay, so America has no backbone, so let's just take over the world."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Honestly,
Mhm.
I think a a huge portion of this entire war is a consequence of the takeover of the Crimea back in like 2014, I think.
Oh yeah, like 12 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah, we're in 20. You said 2012, right? Or 2014?
2014.
Yeah, it's 10 years ago. Yeah. All right. Well, that was deep. And a history lesson from
It's
Jeremy.
not really a history lesson.
I mean, we kind of went through it pretty extensively. I mean, it will help me kind of understand. Even though I was in the military, I feel like being in the military really just doesn't provide you foreign policy experience. It's kind of interesting, like how a lot of politicians use the military as like, oh yeah, I was in the military. But for me, I was mostly at AAA Army Medical Hospital, so it's kind of like, okay, well,
Well,
I didn't.
I wouldn't expect it to. I mean,
Well, I mean, you have people like Tulsi Gabbard, or you have like even the two vice presidents, right? Both of them served in the military, and you think to yourself
yeah.
like, okay, well, does that matter? Does that add anything to foreign policy? Does that make people respect people more? You know, I guess just in terms of serving your country,
It just
but
shows that they're true patriots.
we are true patriots.
Yeah.
And that's all we have today. We'll see you next time. No, okay. Um, yeah. Good.
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 Yeah.
Good. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to filter through a lot of that.